Have you ever looked at someone and felt something was off? Like their words said one thing, but their eyes whispered something else? You couldn't explain it. You couldn't prove it. But deep down, you knew they weren't being real. That feeling? That gut signal? That's your mind trying to read the person without the tools. Now imagine if you had those tools. Imagine if you could read anyone instantly, just by how they blink, how they pause, how they sit, how they smile. Not with guesswork, but with strategy. Machiavelli understood this game centuries ago, and what he knew then still works now better than ever. Because in a world full of masks, the real weapon is vision. Not just eyesight, psychological sight. In this video, you'll learn 14 dark psychological tactics used by master observers to read people like open books. These are cold, precise, and brutally accurate. No theories, no fluff, just raw, readable behavior. If you're tired of being lied to, manipulated, or caught off guard, then stay locked in, because by the end of this video, they won't be able to hide from you ever again. This is dark power, where we don't beg for truth. We extract it. Let's begin. Tactic 1. Watch their eyes, the gateway to hidden intentions. The eyes betray what the mouth hides. You don't need psychic powers, just attention. When someone speaks, their eyes do two things. They either anchor or they drift. Anchored eyes hold steady. It means clarity, honesty, confidence. Drifting eyes? That's anxiety, distraction, or deception, especially when a question catches them off guard. Next, notice blinking. Rapid blinking while explaining something. They're nervous, not because of you, but because of what they're hiding. A long blink before answering? Their brain is editing the truth. Then comes pupil dilation. If their pupils shrink when you speak, it's often disapproval or discomfort. If they widen, you've triggered emotional impact, fear, attraction, or deep interest. Most people never learn this language, but if you do, you can read emotions before they're even spoken. Machiavelli believed power belonged to the observer, the one who sees before acting, the one who watches silently while others reveal themselves without even knowing. Train your eyes to see the unspoken war happening behind every smile. Learn to interpret, not assume. If you're ready to sharpen this psychological weapon, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment, "I see everything," to show you're no longer blind to human behavior. Tactic 2. Test their silence. What people reveal when you say nothing. Silence isn't empty, it's revealing. When you hold your tongue, others rush to fill the space. And in that rush, they expose things they never meant to. Most people are uncomfortable with stillness. The moment there's a pause, they fidget, ramble, over-explain. That's when their insecurities surface. When someone says more than necessary, it's rarely for your benefit. It's to protect themselves. The truth is rarely long-winded, but lies need wrapping paper. Try this. Next time you ask someone a question, say nothing after their answer. Keep eye contact. Stay still. You'll notice a second wave of speech, often the real one. Because silence acts like a mirror. It forces people to face their own reflection. Machiavelli understood that the less you speak, the more others reveal. The manipulator thrives on your reactions. Remove them. Stay unreadable. The world is addicted to noise. Your silence becomes power. Master the pause. Let the quiet do the cutting. If you want to become unreadable while learning to read everyone else, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "Silence reveals all" to show you're listening with your eyes. Tactic 3. Interrupt the mask. Break the script to see the truth. People wear social masks. Well-rehearsed versions of themselves, polished, predictable, safe. But those masks only work when the script is followed. So if you want to see who someone really is, disrupt the script. Ask something they didn't expect. Shift the tone. Change the subject mid-conversation. bring up a personal detail they weren't ready to confront. Why? Because masks are fragile. They crack under pressure. When someone's caught off guard, their facial expressions become unfiltered. Their voice tone shifts. The fake confidence drops. In that moment, the real personality slips through. Irritation, confusion, contempt, or even fear. That's the gold. That's what they were hiding. Machiavelli knew that control comes from causing imbalance, not violently, but surgically. By stepping outside routine conversation, you break their rhythm. You disarm performance. And when people are disarmed, they reveal. Watch closely when they stumble. Don't speak. Let the crack widen. The fake self always needs rehearsal. The real self appears when panic sets in. If you're ready to start breaking masks and reading real motives, tap like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "No more masks" to show you're done falling for fake. Tactic 4. Study the micro-reactions. Truth slips before words arrive. The truth doesn't start with words, it begins in milliseconds. Before someone speaks, their body already whispers it. A raised eyebrow, a twitch at the corner of the mouth, a sudden blink, a flinch. These are micro-reactions, involuntary responses that last a fraction of a second. Too fast to fake, too real to hide. When someone is asked a tough question, don't look at their lips. Watch their face before the answer forms. That's when the truth tries to escape. A moment of disgust before they compliment you. A flash of panic before they act calm. A smirk before they lie. These are giveaways, tells, human glitches. Politicians trained to control their words. Liars trained to control their stories. But the body, the face, it speaks without permission. Machiavelli would say, do not listen first, observe. Reactions betray intention. To truly read people, don't just listen to what they say. Catch what they suppress. If you're ready to read between the milliseconds and unlock real psychological awareness, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment, "I catch the glitch," to show your eyes now speak louder than their words. Tactic 5. Use strategic pauses. Make their mind unfold itself. Words can dominate a room, but silence controls it. When you speak with pauses, you create tension, not discomfort, control. Every second you pause is a second where the other person is forced to fill the gap with assumptions, projections, or confessions. Fast talkers are easy to read. They give you everything up front. But slow, intentional speech makes people second-guess your thoughts and overexpose their own. A well-placed pause after a question, it signals composure. A long breath before answering, it suggests depth. A delay before responding to manipulation, that's power. Here's the trick: when someone expects a reaction, don't give it. Let silence stretch. They'll twitch, they'll stumble, they'll try to clarify, overshare, or retract. They'll think the silence means something, so they reveal everything to fill it. Machiavelli knew, the quieter you are, the louder others become. Speak like a blade, slow, deliberate, and piercing. If you're ready to speak less but dominate more, tap like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "Silence cuts deep" to show you're mastering the art of cold verbal control. Tactic 6. Mirror and measure. Copy to reveal their core. People reveal more when they feel seen. The quickest way to achieve that? Mirror them subtly. Match their posture, echo their tone, align your breathing pace. Do it gently, like a shadow. For a few moments, they'll feel an unconscious connection, familiarity, safety. Then stop. If they continue to mirror you afterward, they've submitted. They're seeking approval, they're trying to stay connected. That tells you they're either impressionable or manipulatable. On the other hand, if they pull back, change rhythm, or become stiff, you've hit resistance. That's someone guarded, suspicious, or used to control. This tactic isn't about deception, it's about calibration. Mirroring creates a psychological echo chamber. How they react to being subtly copied shows you what they value, what they fear, and how easily they bend. Machiavelli would watch behavior not to flatter, but to measure. Influence requires intel. If they follow, they're drawn to you. If they resist, they see you as threat or equal. So the question is, are they mirroring you or are you mirroring them? If you're ready to use reflection as a weapon, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment, "I mirror to measure," to show your eyes are sharper than ever. Tactic 7. Give them space to brag. Ego always exposes itself. The most dangerous liars rarely lie directly, they boast. When people feel admired, they relax their guard. Compliment them, not to flatter, but to study. Say things like, "You seem like someone who always gets what they want," or "You must be really good at reading people." Then watch what happens. The ego craves validation, and when it's fed, it gets loud. It starts revealing ambitions, resentments, manipulations, even past betrayals. Because deep down, they want someone to witness their superiority. Most people think the key to spotting deception is confrontation. Wrong. The real key is inflation. Let the ego rise, and it will always overflow into truth. Machiavelli observed that when you praise a ruler, he exposes his greatest fears and hungers without even realizing it. Same applies today. In their need to be admired, people will tell you what they hide from others, and sometimes even from themselves. You don't need to trap them, just listen. The brag is the confession. If you're ready to turn compliments into interrogation tools, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment, "Ego can't hide," to prove you've mastered silent exposure. Tactic 8. Break the pattern, disrupt to reveal the hidden self. People rely on routines to stay in control, not just in life, but in how they present themselves. Fake personas run on scripts, and those scripts fall apart under disruption. You want to see who someone really is? Shift the rhythm. In a calm conversation, suddenly change your tone. In a relaxed moment, throw in a hard truth. In the middle of their story, ask a question that doesn't belong. What happens next is the reveal. A controlled person adapts calmly, but a fake, manipulative, or insecure person stutters, gets irritated, or resets the mask. That moment of hesitation, confusion, or frustration, that's the real person slipping out. We all act, but only the well-built can improvise under pressure. Machiavelli understood the true test of character isn't in agreement, it's in interruption. The predator watches not when someone performs, but when the scene changes. Don't just observe behavior, interrupt it. Then watch what leaks out. If you're ready to break facades and uncover the raw core beneath, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment, "I break the script," to show you've entered the mind behind the mask. Tactic 9. Ask about their enemies. Hidden loyalties always surface. You want to know someone's values. Don't ask about their dreams. Ask about the people they despise. How a person speaks about those they dislike tells you everything about their mindset, their principles, insecurities, and capacity for betrayal. If they attack with venom, they're likely vengeful. If they laugh while describing another's downfall, they hide cruelty behind humor. If they avoid naming anyone, yet speak in circles, that's a calculated manipulator, cautious, rehearsed, selective. This tactic works because people project their own shadow onto others. What they hate in others often lives inside them. Machiavelli never trusted praise alone. He listened to how people described those they condemned. Because hidden resentments are often louder than loyalty. The truth is, people can fake kindness, generosity, even love. But their voice changes when they talk about conflict. It sharpens, it slips, and that's where the mask tears. Want to know who they really are? Ask, "So, who's someone you just can't stand?" Then sit back and listen for the cracks. If you're ready to spot shadows through conversations, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment your enemies expose you to show you see through their words. Tactic 10. Interrupt their comfort. See who they become under pressure. Comfort is a costume. When people feel in control, they behave well. But real identity doesn't show up during calm, it appears when the temperature rises. To uncover truth, disrupt the comfort zone. Ask a confronting question, challenge their opinion, disagree, politely but firmly. Then step back and watch. Do they stay composed, or do they tense up? Do they explain, or attack? Do they listen, or immediately defend? How someone handles pressure reveals what they've buried. Many hide behind charm and ease, but once you disturb their balance, the core emerges, the fragile ego, the entitled mind, the hidden arrogance, the real temper. Machiavelli believed power should always be tested, not through cruelty, but through tension. Because tension strips away the rehearsed image and exposes the raw emotional structure underneath. Remember, the way someone reacts when their image is threatened is their truth in motion. Control doesn't crumble under challenge, performance does. If you're ready to master the art of psychological pressure, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "I break comfort" to show you're done being fooled by polished behavior. Tactic 11. Spot the over-apology. Guilt can be a mask for control. Not all apologies are honest. In fact, many are weapons. Some people say sorry, not to take responsibility, but to disarm you. They apologize too quickly, too often, too dramatically. It looks like guilt, but it's often strategy. Why? Because an excessive apology shifts focus. It rewrites the story. It makes you feel bad for reacting. Suddenly you're calming them down, instead of holding them accountable. This is how manipulators maintain control. They appear fragile, remorseful, sensitive, but it's a trap. The apology becomes a smokescreen, a shortcut to avoid consequences. Others use it as a charm device. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it," after every boundary crossed. And yet, they do it again and again. Because they know the word sorry resets the emotional board and keeps them in the clear. Machiavelli wouldn't just hear an apology, he'd measure the motive behind it. Real regret leads to change, fake remorse leads to repetition. So don't just listen to the word, watch the behavior that follows. If you're ready to see through guilt theater, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "No more empty sorry" to show you won't be fooled by rehearsed regret. Tactic 12. Notice who they avoid. Power reveals itself in silence. It's not just who they talk to, it's who they don't. In every room, people instinctively avoid certain individuals. Not out of dislike, but out of fear, insecurity, envy, or exposed vulnerability. The person they glance at, then look away from. The one they joke about but never challenge directly. The one whose presence makes them shrink, posture, or overperform. Why does this matter? Because avoidance is a spotlight. People dodge what threatens their image, not physically, but psychologically. If someone consistently avoids eye contact with a specific person, there's usually an imbalance of power. If they mock but never confront, that's quiet submission wrapped in sarcasm. If they disappear when certain names come up, that's a past wound still bleeding. Machiavelli studied where fear flowed, and it never moved randomly. Those they avoid often reflect the truth they're hiding from. So next time you're in a group, don't just observe interaction, track the absence of it. The real story is always in the silences. If you're ready to read fear by who they dodge, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "I see what you fear" to show you're reading the invisible. Tactic 13. Observe how they treat the weak. True nature hides in shadows. Kindness shown to the powerful is easy. It costs nothing. But how someone behaves toward those they gain nothing from, that's the truth. Watch how they speak to a janitor, a waiter, a stranger with no status. Are they patient? or dismissive, respectful or entitled. Because cruelty doesn't start with fists, it starts with tones. Tiny slights, passive jabs, fake smiles. That's where the real character lives, far from the spotlight. You want to understand someone's true hierarchy? See who they ignore. See who they interrupt. See who they pretend not to see. The Machiavellian lens doesn't just scan upward, it examines downward. Because power corrupts quietly. The most dangerous personalities often hide behind charm until they believe no one important is watching. And when they think a person holds no value, their guard drops and the mask follows. You don't need a confrontation to expose someone. You need silence and an eye for how they behave when no reward is attached. If you're ready to read character through the cracks of condescension, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "I watch the shadows" to show you're reading beneath the surface. Tactic 14. Say nothing and watch everything. Master the power of pure observation. There is a language more honest than words, and it lives in silence. The moment you stop talking, people assume, they project, they reveal. Most conversations are filled with noise, performance, small talk, ego battles. But when you say nothing, you force the world to show itself. Sit in a room and remain still. No nodding, no verbal cues, just observe. The loudest person will try to dominate you. The insecure will glance repeatedly, needing reassurance. The manipulative will test you. They hate the unreadable. This is where real insight lives. Not in questions, but in reactions. People can prepare answers, but they can't script your silence. Machiavelli mastered this tactic. He knew the less he revealed, the more others exposed. When you become quiet, they fill the space with truth, weakness, ambition, fear. You don't need to interrogate. You don't even need to speak. You just need to watch without blinking. In a world addicted to noise, your silence becomes lethal. If you're ready to turn your presence into pressure, hit like, subscribe to Dark Power, and comment "I speak with silence" to prove you've mastered the final tactic.